Whoa! Am I your host that just got blown in from a hurricane? Well, yes, I am, and welcome back to the O Hockey Show. Now, if you're wondering about some things, I got some updates for you. So, number one, yes, I did get a haircut, and it looks bad today because I haven't taken a shower yet. Two, yes, I finally changed the month on my calendar, so it's finally correct. And three, if you're wondering about some of the videos in the past about the last one saying in the news video about the Coyotes pick me or whatever, and then the hosting one, if you saw that and you're wondering about it, let's just say it's something I'm really excited about and really crossing my fingers for and praying that things happen, so I'll keep you updated on that in the future if you're interested. But right now, I know you're interested in me talking about the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, the Hurricanes I said in my preview video that I think they're one of the best contenders for the Cup this year. Just all the way around, this team is stacked. But the thing that I really, really appreciate about the Hurricanes is that they're a team that is well-rounded. And that was one of my big things, is that they're well-rounded and with good players well-rounded is what I mean. So, it kind of is hard for me to decide who the Hurricanes' best player is, because, of course, that's what my job is today. And I was looking at the board, and I was like, man, there's a lot of options, because a lot of these guys, like, I have some high hopes for some guys that can break out. They have some already guys that could have a breakout season this year. They already have their constant top guys. And then they've also got some guys in the back that could do something or change around their stuff. So, there's a lot of questions when it faced me to name who the best player on the Carolina Hurricanes was. So, let's start off with the top, and probably the main choice that comes to everyone's mind first is probably Sebastian Aho. Now, Sebastian Aho, of course, leading the team 81 points last year, 37 goals, 44 assists. Of course, we know Sebastian Aho from Finland, not the Swedish one, on the Islanders, is a great player. We all know it ever since he was drafted. He was the star that was going to grow. Now, of course, he's not alone when it comes to being a star. We also got the guy that brought the lacrosse move back, the Michigan, Andrei Svechnikov. 69 points, 30 goals, 39 assists. Of course, he is 12 points behind Sebastian Aho, so that kind of, in the points production category, Aho definitely wins in that category. He leads the team in points. Svechnikov's number 2 in that category. But, of course, Svechnikov he isn't the all-around player, I would say, like Sebastian Aho is. But, I don't know, everything that you could say about Svechnikov, you could probably get from Aho. Maybe not like some lacrosse move stuff. But I feel like Aho is a more well-rounded and also more developed player than Svechnikov. But at the same time, going into this year, Andrei Svechnikov could easily make that jump and then become that points guy, right? He could easily jump up and get to the 40 goals next year and then get to maybe like 45 assists. You know what I mean? This guy could Svechnikov and Aho, for that matter too, both of those guys could easily jump up. Now, those are the forwards, okay? Now, I've got one more forward to talk about later on, but those are the top guy forwards that I could think of that probably most people would consider the most. Of course, then you've got Jacob Slavin. Now, so defensively, Jacob Slavin was their top defenseman last year. 42 points, and the biggest thing is that he's a plus 35. Plus 35, pretty good. Now, they bring in a new guy this offseason. They get rid of Tony DeAngelo, and they bring in Brent Burns from the Sharks. So, the longtime Shark Brent Burns, from forward to defenseman, Norris Trophy winner. Brent Burns comes in with his beard and shaved head. He comes in with the most points of any defenseman of last year, 54 points. However, he's a negative 15, which is a big deal, but that's also from playing on the Sharks. So that's also another component, is that Brent Burns has been named to be pretty poor defensively minded. So he's pretty good at making points for a defenseman, but he's not very good at keeping the puck out of the net. But at the same time, can you blame a guy who was on the San Jose Sharks last year, especially being their top defenseman on the team? And he's going to be on the ice the most out of anybody, which means he's probably going to be on the ice for the most goals against him as a defenseman as well. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of not Brent Burns' fault, and I've been meaning to make a video for Brent Burns talking about how this could potentially be the turnaround for him. I feel like Brent Burns, ever since he's been started to make fun of for being not that great of a defenseman has been also the Sharks not been very good either. So at the same time, I do agree that he's not the defenseman of old. However, at the same time, the Sharks aren't the Sharks of old. So I feel like on the Carolina Hurricanes, Brent Burns could make a bounce back, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's in Norris contention. I mean, probably not with guys like Makar and Hedman around, but I could easily see him jumping up to like 70 points and maybe like a plus 10 or something. I could see that from Brent Burns. But one more forward that I wanted to talk about, which I really wanted to bring into full, I don't know what the right word full lensed, I guess. Teuvo Teravainen, 65 points, right? And I kind of want to highlight the fact that the Hurricanes, it's such a hard team to name who a best player is. Because sure, Sebastian Aho has 81 points, and he's like above everyone by like his second place guy's 12 points behind him, right? And guys behind Teuvo Teravainen's even a little bit more and a little more. But the Hurricanes are really well-rounded. All the way around, they've got so many guys that could easily make that jump to be that guy next year. I wouldn't be surprised if Brent Burns could make the jump and be the guy, the defenseman that they need. Slavin could easily make that jump and go back into that Norris contention he was like a couple years ago. Svechnikov, Teuvo Teravainen could take that brass ring. Everyone's got that one really good year in them. So all these guys, guys also, Seth Jarvis. You've also got guys like a potential breakout candidate in like, Jarvis for one, that was the main one I wanted to say, but like maybe someone like Kotkaniemi potentially. Probably not, but you never know. Like they have a lot of guys, even defensively. Brady Shea can make a jump. Ethan Bear. Like they've got a lot of guys on this team that could make that jump and grab that ring in like Svechnikov, Teravainen, Seth Jarvis. They've also got their established guys like Slavin and Aho that could hold on to that ring. And then they got guys that could bounce back and make another new name for themselves in Brent Burns. But also you've got guys all the way in the back in Freddie Anderson. Now Freddie Anderson last year was second place in goals against average and third when it came to save percentage. And had 4 shutouts as well, which is in the top 10. But he was like tied with a bunch of people, so whatever. But anyways, he was second and third in those 2 categories. And I know they say goals against average is a team stat, which I kind of agree, but at the same time, it goes to show that he had a good save percentage and a goals against. But is that helped from the fact that he has a super good defense in front of him and an offensive team that's going to keep the puck out of their zone a lot? And I think Freddie Anderson gets a lot of help from that fact that he gets a lot of help from all the guys in front of him. So Anderson, I think, is great, but I think something that really knocks him off is the fact that he got injured in the playoffs and wasn't able to play for them near the end of the year and going into the playoffs. And that kind of hurts. It's like, what have you done for me lately? You kind of let us down. Which I know injuries isn't his fault, but you know what I mean. So Anderson, great and all, but I think I have to award a player the name of the best player on the Carolina Hurricanes. And that is why I am putting on my smart glasses and getting out the green marker of greatness to award the Star of Superiority. So, looking at the team and looking at these names, who would I give the star to? Well, I feel like you can kind of wipe out guys like Teravainen. Teravainen, there's just no way that you can put him over guys like Aho or Svechnikov or a guy that can still grow like Seth Jarvis after having one good year. So, and a young guy having one good year. So Teravainen you can kind of wipe out. For defenseman-wise, I feel like you kind of can't give it to Brent Burns exactly, but I wouldn't be very surprised. I feel like you can wipe out Brent Burns. Jacob Slavin, he is a good defenseman, but I don't think you can give a guy with only 42 points on defense the award of greatness. So, between Anderson, who was a Vezina candidate, no he wasn't, he should have been though, and Sebastian Aho and Svechnikov, I feel like you can kind of wipe it. If you think Svechnikov is great, then you can't deny that Sebastian Aho was better. Now, this isn't going off of last year. This isn't saying who was best last year, because obviously that's Aho. But I think going into this next season, I think the Carolina Hurricanes' best player is going to be... That's a star. There we go. It goes to Sebastian Aho. So, I know it might seem like you're just giving it to the guy with the most points. Maybe. But at the same time, a guy like Aho is still growing because he is still younger, not super young, but younger. Someone like Svechnikov, if he gets better, Aho is going to benefit off of him. Anderson, it's kind of isn't the type of goaltender that I totally believe in, and also he's helped out by the fact that he's got so many good guys in front of him. I really kind of wanted to give it to Brent Burns because I do see him, because if he got 54 points with the Sharks and being their number one defenseman last year, of course he's going to get a lot of goals scored against him while he's on the ice, which is going to drive down his plus minus. I feel like with a combination of those factors, I wanted to give it to him, but I feel like people, and it probably wouldn't turn out very well, and I wanted to give it to like Svechnikov or Seth Jarvis, but the fact that Aho would be that playmaker center that would benefit off of them, and Aho is great in his own way and is going to grow with this team, that I think there's no way that Sebastian Aho doesn't benefit from those guys getting better, and he also getting better from those guys around him. And he already was the best one with these guys. So, that is who I give the Green Star of Greatness to. I kind of wanted to give it to Brent Burns, but I feel like that wouldn't work off very well. So, that is all that I've got to tell you about the Carolina Hurricanes today. If you enjoyed watching this video, please pick up your free subscription down below by hitting that red subscribe button. If you liked it, leave a like, not a dislike, but go down below to the comment section. Tell me, who do you think is their true best player? I know you probably think it's insane that I think it should be Brent Burns. You probably agree it's Aho. I bet the other half of you would say Andrei Svechnikov. I wouldn't blame you. I do think he could have the breakout and be that guy. I also think Seth Jarvis could be that guy. The thing about the Hurricanes that I keep saying is that they're just all around good. They don't really have a superstar out of the bunch. And if you were to name the superstar out of it, people would probably say Aho or Svechnikov. But also, thank you for watching. I have been your dapperly dressed host, Owen. And until next time, thank you for watching. Too sweet and ta-ta for now.